We've got some quarterback news and rumors to hit on during today's show. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with the NFL offseason approaching its peak. Free agency is just a week away, but after the combine, all the GMs get together, enjoy their Diet Cokes and their shrimp cocktails, and they give out the juiciest rumors for us to sink our teeth into, including more Lamar Jackson buzz, plus some NFC South news for you guys here as Derek Carr is off to the Big Easy. He is a New Orleans Saint, and he is definitely the best quarterback in the division already. Now, let's start the show off by focusing on Lamar Jackson, because Dov tweeted out a story that came from Jeremy Fowler. He said, several people around the NFL believe that the Ravens have strongly considered using the non-exclusive tag on quarterback Lamar Jackson, per Jeremy Fowler. That's not the usual franchise tag that you see. That would allow teams to offer Jackson a contract that the Ravens can either match or decline in exchange for 2 first-rounders, where you don't often see the non-exclusive franchise tag applied. So what does this mean in English? Basically, this means that the Falcons are, one, not at the mercy of the Baltimore Ravens to do a tag and trade, right? They can negotiate with Lamar Jackson, and if no team gives Lamar a contract that he likes, he would go back to Baltimore for way less than the exclusive franchise tag price, which is about $45 million. The non-exclusive would be $32 million. So the Ravens would be saving $13 million if no team made him an offer. And it might be a bit of a relief for Baltimore because they clearly have not made much headway on the guaranteed money. And if no other team is going to do that, well, if you're the Ravens, you're like, see, Lamar, no team's going to offer you fully guaranteed. Let's go back to that original deal. Now, as for the Falcons, they only give up 2 first-rounders, which most people in the league would agree that Lamar Jackson in an open trade would fetch more than just 2 first-rounders. So for Atlanta, you get to negotiate with him yourself, right? You get to give him the contract that you would like and see if the Ravens match it. If they do, then he goes back to Baltimore. But if they don't match it, all it costs you is 2 first-rounders. Now, Benjamin Albright, who's well tapped in with the league, quote tweeted that report about the non-exclusive tag and said, this was a common thought in Indy this past week, with Atlanta considered the favorite to explore that option if it came to fruition. So the Falcons appear to be at the front of the line to match make an offer on a non-exclusive franchise tag placed on Lamar Jackson. Now, before we get really deep in the Lamar Jackson rumors, we're doing a challenge here at Chat Sports about the upcoming NFL Draft, and here at Chat Sports, we have launched a brand new NFL Draft YouTube channel, and we want to see which fan base can get the most subscribers to it. So if you're looking for a YouTube channel, by the way, with NFL Draft rumors, trades, in-depth analysis, team needs, all that good stuff for the end of April, well, show some love to our NFL Draft YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/ChatNFL. I've already put that link for everyone in the comments and the description of today's show. And when you get over there, just spam Falcons on whatever video you're watching so we can get a good measure and a good pulse to see which fan base is the loudest and the proudest. Now, to get back to Lamar, I know that a lot of you are getting your pitchforks and have already thrown tomatoes at your screen, but we tried warning you since January that the Falcons have been linked to Lamar more than anyone else, and this seems to be becoming a real possibility that the Ravens would place a non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, thus opening the door for the Falcons to make him an offer, and if Baltimore does not match it, boom, Lamar Jackson is an Atlanta Falcon for the price of 2 first-round picks and whatever contract offer Terry Fontenot and company made. Now, we'll throw Lamar Jackson's stats on screen for you guys to familiarize yourself with them. I understand that a good chunk of the audience watching does not want Lamar Jackson, but may I say this? A lot of you guys didn't want Lamar Jackson because you thought it cost too much to get him. Well, does this change your opinion now? If it just cost 2 first-rounders? Does that alter your view on this situation? I think it'd have to, right? Lamar's not just a great passer. He's a great rusher as well. The stats speak for themselves. So I'm curious if your mindset changes on getting Lamar Jackson if it costs just 2 first-round picks? Yeah, it's a top 10 pick for this year, but it's also a future first-round pick that with Lamar Jackson, you would hope would be towards the end of the first round. Like when the Rams got Matthew Stafford, the Lions got 2 first-rounders. One was really good this year. The first time it was a 32nd overall pick. Probably not what Detroit had in mind. So Fontenot has a very tough decision to make here, right? Does he want to continue down this path if this non-exclusive franchise tag is placed on Lamar Jackson? I think he'd be dumb not to, personally. One, I say that because I think Lamar Jackson is an upgrade from Desmond Ridder. And if the price is 2 first-rounders, and yeah, a good-sized contract to give out, but I go back to a point I have beaten before. Falcons fans, you guys have enjoyed consistent quarterback play since Michael Vick, with one-season blimps here and there. Outside of that, it's been Vick and Ryan for 2 decades. You don't want to enter quarterback hell. Trust me. So what is Atlanta planning, right? The Falcons are in the thick of the Lamar Jackson rumors and have been rumored also as a team that could draft a quarterback coming out of the combine. It's looking like the Falcons are doing their homework, as they should, on all 3 avenues to get potentially a better quarterback in the draft, in free agency, or via trade. Now, Ian Rappaport from the Combine put up a list of teams that are candidates to move up in the draft, which usually signals they're getting a quarterback. That would be the Houston Texans, no duh, along with the Colts, the Raiders, we know all that. And then there's the Falcons and the Panthers, who are sitting towards the end of the top 10. That might be snakes in the grass. Now, the Bears hold all the chips right now, and at number 1, they probably want to do a deal with someone as close to number 1 as possible, like the Texans or like the Colts, maybe even the Cardinals, although they aren't going to make a move. They already have their quarterback. So the idea of drafting a quarterback is pretty fascinating because, one, it's always fun to draft a QB in round 1. It provides a bit of a spark. Now, I will go on the record right now, and I don't care if this is a bad take in a few years. Anthony Richardson sucks. Don't draft him. I watched him all year at Florida. Not once during a Florida Gators football game did I think, now that's a top 10 pick right there. I'm not going to let track and field measurements make me forget how much he sucked in Gainesville. Same kind of goes for Will Levis. But I got more faith in Levis than Richardson. But I go back to this. Desmond Ridder, with all the quarterback rumors, right? With the Lamar Jackson trade, more than speculation, right? Rumors, and now the idea of the Falcons moving up to get a quarterback. To me, does that signal that Fontenot and company just not that high or sold on Ridder? He only played in 4 games, but I've listened to numerous interviews with NFL players that say, no, we know a quarterback if he's got it just from the first day of training camp, right? There are some people out there that go, we just need a couple days of training camp to know if this is the guy or not. So if that's true, 4 games in a whole season, working in practice and whatnot, maybe they do believe that they have seen everything there is to see on Ridder, which sounds very early and premature to say, but maybe they know this. He's not their long-term franchise quarterback. And that's fine, right? Look at his numbers in 2022. He showed progress. He showed improvement week after week down the stretch. But he wasn't drafted with the mindset of Desmond Ridder is going to be the next 10-plus year quarterback in Atlanta, right? That's not usually what you're looking for in quarterbacks taken outside of the top 2 rounds. So I think there's a good contingent of Falcons fans out there right now that believe Ridder can/has to be that guy. I don't think they're thinking the same up in Flowery Branch. I think they are much more open to other quarterbacks than maybe we are giving them credit for. So predict it for me. This is a tough question. Who will be the Falcons starting quarterback in 2023? Right. Week 1, which I'm going to call right now, is probably going to be against the Panthers. 1 Eastern game on Sunday. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Desmond Ridder? Is it going to be a rookie? Is it going to be Lamar Jackson? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, next up, I want to switch gears and talk about a different position on the offensive side of things, the offensive line. What about signing Taylor Lewan? The Titans are doing a full rebuild right now. They're tearing it all down, and maybe the Falcons would be interested in bringing on Lewan. Now, we got this report, if you will, from Michael Balco, who he sucks. He is not a legit NFL reporter with great sources. But anywho, Taylor Lewan listed the following teams as teams he joined in free agency: Falcons, Saints, Bengals, Steelers, Eagles. Falcons are on the list. So let's break down the idea of signing Taylor Lewan. So the PFF grades alone, the last 5 seasons, really good when you look at the bottom of the screen. But as you make your way towards the top, you get more and more closer to present day, you see the drop-off. My biggest red flag isn't so much the PFF grades. To me, it's the games played. I'll do the quick math for you. 20 games in the last 3 seasons. When there's 17 games in a season, to only play just over a full season, over 3 years, that's alarming. So for that reason, I'm going to pass on signing someone that's supposed to be a starting caliber player that the last 3 years has been more or less on the bench because of an injury than on the field. Now, I don't know what the future holds with Kaleb McGary. The NFL franchise tag deadline is rapidly approaching. So if he ends up leaving, the injury history to me is too scary to make him my new starting right tackle. If you sign Taylor Lewan, Fontenot, you better have a good backup plan in place because you can't have all that much faith that he's going to start 17 games in a season. So be the GM for me. Should the Falcons sign Taylor Lewan? S for sign or P for pass? Let me know in the comments section below. If you were the GM, would you bring the former Tennessee Titan down to Atlanta? Before we go, some other quick things I want to hit on here. Some relevant news for the NFC South. Derek Carr is off to New Orleans. He signed with the Saints this morning. It's a deal over 4 years. That's an average of $37.5 million. I'm not a big DC fan. I think $37.5 million in this day and age in 2023 is not that bad for a starting quarterback, right? I mean, look, if Daniel Jones is going to get more than that, not a bad deal for New Orleans if you ask me. But Derek Carr himself tweeting out, who dat? I mean, if I'm Carr, right, you look at the landscape of the NFL and teams that were interested in you, you know that you struggle in the cold. You get to go play in a dome, and you got week 17 games in Atlanta or in Tampa, so that's not so bad. Plus, you look around the NFC South, there's no real front runner for who's going to win this division next year. It's probably the Saints right now. I'm guessing Vegas has them as the number 1 team following this thing. Now, some interesting little nugget, a little note I want to share with you all here. Carr is the best quarterback in the NFC South, which I don't think anyone's going to argue against. But will the Falcons make a move to counterpunch, right? Is Atlanta going to see this, and is that going to send some shockwaves through ATL and go, all right, we've got to make some moves now? Because before, Desmond Ridder could compete with whatever the Panthers do, Kyle Trask, and whatever the Saints did, because it wasn't going to be Jameis, right? So now is this going to kind of wake up Atlanta and go, we got to make some bigger moves if we want to stay competitive? Because my guess is only one NFC South team is going to make the postseason next year. It's going to be through winning the division. So if Fontenot kind of wants to get some pressure off of him after some losing years to start, this could be a way to do it. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, making us a part of your day. If you have not subscribed, you know the drill. Go ahead and do so because free agency is not around the corner. It is here, ladies and gentlemen, right? The NFL offseason is about to hit its peak, so make sure you subscribe for the best Falcons and NFL content out there.